Guys, RW here, out on the porch doing a little work on the RC, and I thought this might be a good time to show you a product for the rear axles on an AX10 or SCX10 that will give them some strength and a little bit of weight, and they're called beeftubes.com, and they ship with, basically you get two tubes that have some holes drilled in them. Right here you see the two little holes. These other holes I drilled, but these two holes are drilled and tapped M3, and they line up with the holes in the end of your housing. And all you have to do is carve out the bearing pocket on each end, use a Dremel or a knife, and they're ready to pop in. And what that does is it gives the axle some strength. So I'm just going to show you a few things here real quick. First of all, I'm using the heavy duty bevel gear set because I want my axles to last. I'm using locked up RC OT shafts because they're stronger than the stock shafts. I've got a locked up FI spool because it's stronger than the axle locker and I like it. And I've Loctited the gear and the screws to the spool. The gear and the screws are all one big package now. And then I've put red and tacky, Lucas red and tacky all around it. Okay. And then I just wanted to show you that you have two bearings in here, and this is real important because these bearings are what wear out, and it's what causes your gears to lose mesh and wear out. So you've got to keep these bearings fresh and renewed all the time. And I've got the pinion in there with no shim, and what you want to do is before you even put grease on it or anything, assemble your parts completely with all the screws, everything, and see how it turns. And if it feels like it's cogging and it's gritty, then you can't run a shim in there, obviously. Okay, so now I've got my parts, and normally you would just slap your axle together, right? And you'd be good to go. Maybe put some tasty looking metal lockouts on it and you think, hey, I'm a winner. What happens is this housing is so thin, okay? See how thin that housing is? It snaps right there and your axle and your wheel go flying, and that's it. So to keep that from happening, that's why you would install beef tubes. Okay. So what I've got here is a couple holes for these upper holes here, but it has nothing to do with the way the beef tubes actually ship. Okay, the beef tubes just ship with the two holes in each end. I put these holes here for something I'm trying out, a different kind of link mount. Not something I would recommend. The best kind of link mount is one that bolts through the pumpkin. These link mounts that attach to the top of the axle always screw up. It's just the way they are. And then what I do, if I want to get that screw to line up exactly the way I want, maybe I'll rotate it a little bit. I eyeball it, I look through. It's very simple. Not rocket science. And I put the housings together. And then I'll hold it together temporarily with these lockouts so that I can just finish my job, you know. And that gives you some idea of how it should feel without grease. You've got to test it without grease. You can't do it with grease. You got to do it without grease. And you got to feel it and run it by hand and maybe use your drill. Okay, what I found is no shim on the inside, and then I like to use this nylon shim on the outside. It's easier to do this before you've assembled it, but because I already had grease and everything, I didn't want to get my hands all greasy. There's an alternative way that if you want to push a washer down or something, you can just hang onto your pinion like that. This is a MIP drive shaft for an AX10. Okay, it has a nice large grub screw, which is one of the reasons I like it. Plus, it's just super durable. Kind of expensive, but they're worth it. And this is a grub screw that has a pin on it. You can get these from Traxxas. I think it's 5189 is the part number. These happen to be Integy pins I had from some other shafts that I used on my son's rig. And then I want to put some Loctite on there. You notice I'm using red Loctite. Don't be afraid. You just touch this with a soldering iron later. It'll melt the Loctite and you can pull it right up just like nothing. I do recommend you use blue Loctite though, okay? Don't say, oh, why did I use red Loctite? Because I'm telling you, it's blue Loctite. So what makes an axle wear out is the load this way pressing against the bearing, and it causes the bearing and race to quickly degrade because they're designed for radial loads, not thrust loads. And the other thing that makes it wear out is if the bearing or something gets gritty and starts to spin in its pocket, it'll just wallow right on over, and then the pinion will be over here and the gear will be here. Okay? So there you have it. Beef tubes in an axle. And the rest of it is you just assemble it, and that's it. Thanks for watching.